Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to one of the greatest terrible chess games that you are ever going to see in your life, and in particular on this YouTube channel. And that is saying something because I have really shown you some exceptional stuff. Like all good stories, this began on Reddit a couple of days ago when I saw this game uploaded, but I actually don't know who played this game because they never posted a link to the game, and I also don't know their level. So you and I are going to have to figure that out in a joint effort. Now, before we get into the game itself, it's important to cast the scene. Once again, I am in a prison-style setup. There is a curtain behind me, an anonymous, undisclosed location. Also, this laptop is currently sitting on a bed because I'm in such a small hotel room, there is no table. In fact, I will pan this down for you now. That's how I'm, currently doing things. If I reverse the camera, my wife is on the other side, and maybe we should do a challenge like we did some other time. Like if there's a certain amount of comments, like if 2,000, 3,000 people comment on this video, she will join me for a video. We are currently taking a vacation, and I have not been on vacation in some 10 years probably, and in particular since the chess boom started. So yeah, you can try to guess where we are based on the curtain behind me. That's the only context that you have, and maybe the shadows of the room. Without further ado, allow me to show you this game. I'm on vacation, but I cannot really sit here and claim that my job is particularly difficult, so I will still try to record a video as long as I have an internet connection. I made like 10 different video ideas, so yeah, let's go. And let's make a bunch of new memes with the Gotham World Tour. So, the unfortunate victim began the game with pawn to d4, which is a very sensible move, and probably a good start to most games. And the opponent responded with the move f5. There is nothing wrong with the move f5. I like the move f5. It's the Dutch defense. I'm imagining that these individuals are probably something like 1100 because of what you're about to see. Knight f3, knight f6, everything so far so good, and our unfortunate victim plays the move bishop to f4, which, by the way, they are already a victim. They are playing the London. Wow, I look really red. I'm not sunburned, I promise. Anyway, the London system on the board, and black plays the move e6, right? Trying to get this bishop out. So far so good, right? Black has played the Dutch. Can't really complain about that. Nothing stupid has yet occurred. In fact, nothing stupid occurs for the first 4 moves because it's really difficult to do something stupid in the London. Some 30,000 of you watching this just probably went, whoa, yeah, Gotham hasn't seen me play the London. You guys probably play the inverse London, which is just the bishop's opening. So here black plays the first kind of like little dosage of stupidity, which is the move bishop before check. This is not a really stupid move. It's like minorly stupid, which if we could reduce our governments down to that, I think society would, advance some 3 decades. Yeah, bishop b4 is like a minorly stupid move because white can just play c3. It can block the check, and, that's exactly what happens. So black kind of helps white. Not like the worst thing in the world, but not really necessary either. And now black plays the move bishop to d6. Again, black could have just played that move. You didn't have to go bishop b4. Okay, whatever. I mean, beggars can't be choosers, or whatever the saying is. Bishop d3, castles, castles. Pretty normal so far. So how did this get completely out of control? Well, soon you will find out. Now, in this position, black should not make 3 moves with the bishop like this. This is very bad, I would argue, because you've moved the bishop half of your opening moves, and now the bishop is gone. Now, this particular trade on f4, you would think is like good for black because, oh, doubled pawns, and, doubled pawns mean your opponent melts into a puddle. Not really. This exchange does double white's pawns, but it gives white really, really good control of the e5 square. Not to mention the fact that the move rook to e1 is possible now, which actually does something. There used to be a pawn here, so now the rook on e1 is going to be very happy. So yeah, this is a pretty pleasant situation for white. Black now plays the move knight to g4. Knight to g4 is not a good move, which makes me think this is a 3-digit ELO game. But again, I don't actually know what the ELO of the players is or are. Black should be playing b6 and bishop b7 because it complements the development. Because if you're going to build 3 light squared pawns in front of a bishop that moves like a light square, you should probably put the bishop the other way. Just like if you, I mean, like I always say, right? If you just have an apartment and it has absolutely 0 windows, It's kind of tragic, right? So that's what black should do, is play b6, bishop b7. But black plays the move knight to g4. And another reason why this move is not a good move is because what you will learn as you improve at chess is these random knight jumps into your opponent's position, if they attack nothing, they're not good. Because your opponent can just play h3 and there is just absolutely zero plan. Like you didn't even have a one move threat. You just move the knight there. And the thing is, sometimes you should ask yourself, okay, and what if I get another move? Like, let's say queen h4 was like legal. I mean, it is legal. It's just an awful move. But let's just say white didn't have that. Even then, this is not even mate, right? So black should be developing more pieces. White plays knight bd2, which is completely reasonable. Pawn to h3 would have also been fine. Black plays h6, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but again, black just for some reason really hates all their pieces. They're just like, I'm not moving any of my pieces. I don't care. Now, I like white's next move. Again, I would still play the move h3, and then I would play rook e1, and then I would probably put my knight into the center of the board. White just decides to skip to step 3 of that plan, which is playing the move knight e5, which is nothing wrong with this move, but for the long-term development of a chess player, there is something wrong with this move. You don't actually want to trade these pieces. You would benefit greatly from kicking this knight out of the position and then infiltrating onto g6 straight away. And then maybe transferring the queen over there through f3, which you enabled, but by moving the knight. But okay, knight e5 is played, and now black does correctly spot queen h4 with the knight no longer on the f3 square, and that is checkmate. And that is where the game concludes, as white plays pawn to g3 and gets checkmated in one move. No, that's not what happened. That would be an awful video. Like, what would that would be? Can you imagine? I mean, I'm really out of ideas if I'm just lying to you about the video content. Knight to g6 here is a fork, but it blunders checkmate. Knight g6 is a great example of being a selfish chess player. You're like, ooh, folk! And then they take on h2 and you get mated. Knight takes g4, f takes g4. So far, nothing really too sensational has happened, which is generally how these videos go. Like, the players play with a certain degree of integrity and brain cells and IQ and EQ and lack of colonoscopies. And, you know, f takes g4 is played here, and, okay, there's no more attack, right? So white plays g3, which I get the move g3. You don't have to play g3 because now there's queen h3, but this is not scary. However, all chess players at some point or another, which none of you do this, you need to think for your opponent. You need to think, okay, well, if my opponent could get a few moves in a row, what would they do? Like, what would be, and how would they mate me? Well, you might say rook f5, rook h5, queen h2. That's correct. Queen h2 is mate if you allow all of those moves, but you would take the rook, so that doesn't work. b6, bishop b7, and then queen to g2 is mate. Correct. And b6 is not really stoppable. Bishop b7 is not really stoppable. You know what is stoppable? This queen. You could play bishop e4 and then here, and you're completely safe. Also, if the bishop does get to b7, you can always play pawn to f3. White's position is actually quite resilient, and the move queen e2 is a good sign of that. White actually has their own plan. The way white is playing this, I would think white is 4 digits. The way black has played this, I would think that black is 3 digits, but they're probably the same level, which means that they're 4 digits. And queen e2 is designed to probably do this. And it is at this point that the game turns to absolute garbage. Okay, so buckle up, prepare yourselves, because it ain't getting any better than this. The move queen e2 is and queen e4, and all of this is possible for one reason and one reason only, and it's the fact that black has negated good chess principles. Black has not played this position well. Black is trying to hunt white with one queen, which has no targets. The queen on its own is not going to do any damage. Okay, it's like Damian Lillard in Portland. And blank plays the move b6. Now, you'll notice that the eval bar shoots up to the ceiling. The reason for that is that white's entire plan was queen e4 and queen h7. Now the move queen e4 is made a lot sweeter because there is a rook hanging on the opposite side of the board. It's like black saw the truck coming and like removed its brakes, you know? Like it doesn't make it doesn't make any sense. It's like there was a sprinkler in the front yard, and it was just, you know, do my best sprinkler impression, and you put like really expensive furniture out there, and then you're upset that it got damaged. Like, you did that to yourself, stupid. So you know, I'm not saying anybody's stupid here, but I am saying that you have facilitated your own demise. Now, you have to be 100% sure this is not checkmate. You should probably save the rook because, you know, if you like run the king, I mean, I'm just going to win the rook, like no questions asked. So black plays knight c6 and allows queen h7. Now, it's not mate, but black is completely lost. The computer in this position after queen to e4, I believe wanted to play... I mean, it basically wants to lose the bishop and then like lose a bunch of pawns, and you know, it's like plus 4.5. It's not like completely lost. Black does this, and after queen h7, it's over. It's over because it's not that this attack is checkmate. It's the fact that white's attack is so devastating that white is going to take, like, you know, they're going to rob the bank on the way out. And they're not doing anything bad in the position. So white plays bishop g6, which is fantastic. Now the next move is queen takes g7. If you play knight to king to f6, it delays the inevitable. Not only does it delay the inevitable, it actually facilitates the inevitable with knight to e4 check. And now your king can't even escape. So you can't go anywhere. You would play rook f7, and then you would get brutally checkmated in a variety of fashions, and that would be the end of the game. But that would not make for a good Gotham video. If white won like that, we would never be sitting here. Okay? Fascinating how the butterfly effect works, how every chess move that you make could affect my legacy, your legacy, the legacy of humankind. Anyway, that's all to say that in this position, black actually played technically what would be the right move, but technically the wrong move because they undefended the pawn. And now the king is going to be pried from the defense of the rook, and white is completely winning. Now, the post on Reddit was called, "How did I lose this position?" And what you are about to witness is something that only God knows. Like, this is not teachable. It is teachable, kind of, but like, only God knows how white lost the following position. Black in this position played knight to e7, because if black played the only king move in the position, black is actually now out of moves, and bishop back to e4 is mate. I don't know if that would have been found, like white could have played c4 check and then king d4, and now it's still mate in a few moves, or white would have went queen c5 and hung the queen in one move, which is probably what you would have played, and yet look at the eval, you're still not even that much worse because of how ridiculously bad the position is for black, which is kind of hilarious. Low-key. Actually, not low-key at all. In fact, very, very, very high-key. But black went knight e7. White now continued the hunt, and the general rule of thumb here is you're up a rook, the king is in the center, just give checks. The only types of checks you don't want to give are the ones that accidentally remove defenders from things. So in this position, black obviously moves up, white can give checks, but white correctly realizes that queen takes knight is a completely reasonable move. White now has a 9-point material advantage, and it's checkmate very, very soon. Black should just try to sneak in over here. That is the only thing that black has. There are multiple ways to play a losing position. In this case, you are not going to be able to defend it. You're going to have to create counterplay. Like, you're going to have to find a way to win the game by some sort of miracle. So bishop to b7. White now plays pawn to c4. Again, this is the type of check that I would not give because it blunders two different things. You should continue to hunt with the queen. In this case, this would be check, taking on c7, taking on b7. I actually think that does happen, though. Again, but one thing that you're not doing here with white is you're not giving a check. And that doesn't always matter, but we are foreshadowing. We are foreshadowing because you're not ready. Okay, when I tell you you're not ready, trust me, you are not ready. If this knight wasn't here, this would be mate, right? But it is. So white plays, black plays e5. I can't really explain this move other than black was just sort of clicking around, and then, you know, one of the pieces that illuminated a legal move, so they played it. You know, you click this, it does, it shows, so you just play it. White correctly, in my opinion, plays queen takes c7. This is a check, which is a very, very good move. And now you are going to remove the only piece that poses you any sort of threat at all. You also at some point can get rid of this with a bishop or a queen. You know, you get your queen here, you force a trade, you can trap the queen somehow. Black plays king takes d4. And now you have mate. You have two different mates. You can move either of these rooks to the d file. The way you even prime yourself for that is you just ask, do I have a check? you might be tempted to give a check with the queen. But you haven't moved these rooks, which is just like, you got to realize, like, you're up material, right? A lot of you make this mistake. You're up material, but you don't use it. White is up a rook. The rooks are not being used right now. Just wait a minute, I haven't moved my rook. Boom, rook d1. Nice. But white plays queen b7. I don't hate this move. This rook is not going to deliver checkmate with the queen. It's just not going to happen. So the queen now has to, the queen is now attacking the rook. White has a 12-point material advantage. Rook to g8 is played. Now, I can see where this is going to become a problem. Like, if somehow, some way this actually does occur, you know, black is going to win the game. It's going to make for good Gotham content. But white plays queen d7 right back. Again, missing the mates. King to c4. It's made in two. It's made in two in, like, a lot of cool different ways. Like, you could probably checkmate with a pawn at some point. You've got, like, you know, rook check, queen, all sorts of different queen checks. But white plays queen e6. That's a great move because you're going to win the rook. You're going to have a 17-point material advantage, and that's it. None of these pawns are going to deliver any sort of checkmate. Like, the pawn is in the queen's way. The queen is in the pawn's way. The queen also has no way back. The queen is absolutely trapped. This game is absolutely hopeless. King to d3. Now, it's made into, once again, 49 million different ways. You have queen d5, you have queen b3, you have, like, rook checks. You have a discovered check with your knight, with your bishop, excuse me, that will win the queen. You can also just cleanly take the rook. Like, every single piece here is on the verge of death. White decides to play queen takes g8. And now is going to come back and deliver the kiss of death. Black doesn't really know what to do, but follows my philosophy of not hitting the resign button and just moving the king, running the king forward. You never know. Queen takes f1 is checkmate. Actually, no, it's not. All right, well, white in this position plays queen c4, and it's checkmate on the very next move. You also could have played queen to b3. You also could have played rook e1 check. You literally are spoiled for choice with the amount of checkmate in two that you have in this position. White plays one of the moves, king to f3. And my friends, as we all know, in chess, when you have checkmate in one move with queen to d3, with knight to d2, with mate in two a million different ways, the best thing to do when you have checkmate in one move is to allow it for your opponent. This person posted and said, how did I lose this position? The way this person lost this position is very simple. Don't stop giving checks when you are up 17 points of material and the opponent's pieces are just standing around waiting to be set up for the next game. Queen c2, queen g2 is inexcusable. I was going to have dinner. Seeing this game ruined my appetite. I might fast until tomorrow morning. Anyway, my friends, the Gotham World Tour will continue. You might see a different background very soon. Maybe you'll see a relative of mine. That's terrifying. Maybe not. But yeah, if you want Lucy, 3,000 comments. I'll see you in the next video. I'll see you in the next city. Get out of here.